For more on their incredible story of survival and daring escape.
My name is Nando Parrado, and I was 21 years old when the crash happened.
An old transport plane crashed in the Andes Mountains.
I just remember the sound of the impact.
I knew I was going to die.
And at last we just eat it like we were eating rice.
A chartered flight carrying the Old Christians Club rugby team crashed in the Andes Mountains, leaving survivors stranded in a hostile environment. Faced with freezing temperatures, starvation, and dwindling supplies, the survivors resorted to cannibalism as a last resort to stay alive. Can you imagine being stranded in the freezing Andes Mountains with no hope of rescue? That's exactly what happened to the survivors of Flight 571, whose remarkable story of perseverance continues to inspire. A harrowing story of perseverance. Let's talk about Flight 571, a flight packed with members of the Old Christians Club rugby team, their friends and some family, all buzzing with excitement for a game in Santiago, Chile. The flight was supposed to land smoothly, but things took a grim turn when Lieutenant Colonel Dante Lagorara, the co-pilot, and Colonel Julio Cesar Ferradas, the pilot, misjudged their position. Instead of landing safely, the plane crashed high up in the mountains, far from civilization. Amidst the wreckage, 33 souls found themselves alive, but facing an unforgiving environment. The freezing Andes. Think below zero temperatures, relentless blizzards, and air so thin it makes your head spin. With no medical supplies, warmth, or food, the survivors had to get creative. They transformed the shattered plane into a makeshift shelter, using luggage for walls and seat covers as blankets. But their most desperate move came when they turned to the unthinkable: cannibalism. It was a gruesome act born out of necessity, a haunting reminder of the lengths one can go to survive against all odds. Yet, despite the unimaginable hardships, these survivors clung to hope and each other, showing the world the indomitable strength of the human spirit. The unthinkable decision, stranded high up in the icy Andes, the survivors of Flight 571 were facing a grim reality. With their meager supplies dwindling fast and the bitter cold claiming lives, desperation set in. Despite finding some snacks like candy, wine, and jam in the wreckage, it was clear they wouldn't last. Within days, more lives slipped away, leaving the group weakened and desperate. Then came the unthinkable realization: to survive, they would have to resort to the ultimate taboo: eating the flesh of the dead. In his memoir, survivor Roberto Canessa vividly recounts that pivotal moment when they made the agonizing decision. With makeshift tools in hand, they carefully stripped the clothing of the deceased, each man grappling with his conscience in the face of unimaginable circumstances. It was a haunting scene, set against a backdrop of cold and despair, yet it was the only choice they had left. A test of resolve. As October drew to a close, the survivors of Flight 571 encountered yet another tragedy. While seeking refuge in their makeshift shelter, an avalanche thundered down the mountainside, claiming the lives of 8 more souls. Roberto Canessa, reflecting on the near loss of hope, recalled a moment of resilience when a fellow survivor reminded him of his ability to walk, sparking a renewed determination to survive not just for himself, but for the group. Despite the devastating loss, their spirits remained unbroken. By December, only 16 survivors remained, confronted with a daunting choice: to await their fate passively or to summon the courage to seek help. The amazing rescue. In a daring bid for survival, Roberto Canessa, Nando Parrado, and Antonio Vicentin volunteered for a dangerous mission to seek help. After weeks of preparation, the trio set out on December 12th, with hopes of scaling a mountain and finding assistance on the other side. 3 days into the journey, Vicentin returned to camp, sacrificing his chance for the greater good. Undeterred, Canessa and Parrado pressed on. Then, on December 20th, a ray of hope pierced the desolate landscape as they spotted Sergio Catalan Martinez, a Chilean herdsman. With his aid, help arrived the following day. Guided by Canessa and Parado, authorities reached the remaining survivors, ending their 72-day ordeal in the unforgiving Andes. How the Andes survivors defied the odds. In the wake of the harrowing ordeal known as the Miracle in the Andes, the world was captivated by the astonishing tale of survival that emerged from the desolate mountain landscape. Yet, amidst the initial euphoria of their rescue, a darker truth emerged. The survivors had resorted to the unthinkable act of consuming human flesh to stave off starvation. Despite the horror of their actions, the survivors, including Roberto Canessa, stood by their decisions, asserting that in the direst of circumstances, one cannot be held accountable for choices made in the name of survival. However, the burden of their choice weighed heavily upon them, casting a shadow over their newfound freedom. As they ventured back into civilization, they carried with them not only the physical scars of their ordeal, but also the enduring psychological trauma of their experiences. Canessa, in his poignant memoir, reflected on how the leap into cannibalism marked a definitive break in their lives, forever altering their sense of self and leaving them irrevocably changed. Despite the profound impact of their ordeal, the survivors were determined to honor the memory of those who did not survive the ordeal. With solemn reverence, they laid their fallen comrades to rest near the site of the crash, ensuring that they would forever remain intertwined with the Andean landscape that had witnessed both their triumph and tragedy. It was a poignant gesture, a testament to the enduring bond forged through shared suffering and collective resilience. The story of Flight 571 could easily have ended as a tragic enigma, a haunting reminder of the fragility of human existence in the face of nature's unforgiving wrath. Yet, through their unwavering resolve and sheer determination, the survivors rewrote the narrative of their fate. They refused to be relegated to the annals of history as mere victims, instead emerging as symbols of hope and perseverance in the face of unimaginable adversity. In their struggle to survive, they not only defied the odds but also challenged the very limits of human endurance, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of humanity. So that's all for today's video. If you like it, click the like and bell buttons. We'll have another video for you soon. Take care until then.